On behalf of Superintendent Jack Cross, Principal Carrie Hagnes, the Morgan Political Club, and the newly established Morgan Debate Club, welcome to tonight's 2014 District 35 House and District 33 Senate debate here at the Gagnon Auditorium. I'm Megan Quinn, a 3-year member of the Political Club. And now, Morgan Political Club member Mike Murray, who will act as tonight's first moderator.
Thank you. I'm Mike Murray. It's nice to see you all here tonight. So let's get started. Mr. MacLachlan, can you give your opening statement?
Sure. Test. There we go. Thank you, Morgan Political Club, Eric and Morgan Debate Club, for hosting this event. And for you students, it's a testament to your parents, to you, and to your teachers for getting involved in the debate regarding our way of life here in Connecticut at such a young age. So thank you. My name is Jesse MacLachlan, and I'm running to be your state representative in the towns of Clinton, Killingworth, and Westbrook. I went through the Westbrook school systems and went to college to study politics, and returned to Connecticut to work for my family's small business. We work in libraries. I'm running because of my lineage. My grandfather helped build the spacesuits that put Neil Armstrong on the moon, and he did it here in Connecticut, with less than a high school education. They honored him with a very special coin. I'm running because I want the kids that I mentored to have the same opportunity and more that he did, to grow up here, to receive an excellent education here, to find work, start a family if they choose, and retire. This is an important election. There is a real difference between the candidates, giving you all a choice, and an important one. We can take a path that sets us on a road to prosperity, or we can take a path that puts us into further fiscal peril. We have taxed and borrowed, and our credit cards are pretty much maxed out. The state is becoming out of reach, affordability-wise, for young people, working families, retirees, businesses, both large and small. The politics of our governor just aren't working. I've never defined myself based off the failures of another human being, and I don't plan to going forward. But it's important that we be real, open, and honest. I don't believe that the politics of our governor are working. My opponent, for some reason, has supported those policies 99% of the time, and that worries me. I have knocked on thousands of doors, and I have never met anyone, not one person, who has agreed with our governor 99% of the time, or any governor for that matter. Tonight, I'm here to make you a pledge to help set Connecticut on a path to prosperity. I ask for your consideration as we dive into the issues to allow me to be your representation in Hartford. Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, thank you to Eric Bergman and the staff, and also the Political Club for putting this on tonight. Thank you very much, and everybody that's attending it tonight. This is a very important election for everyone. The state has a lot of issues that have been going on for 20 years. When I went to Hartford, I went there to work, and my past record proves that I've been a hard worker, bringing a lot back to our district. I'm a small businessman in town, and I know how to make a payroll. I know how hard it is. We need to keep working, keep all of our progress going in the right way so that we can put more people back to work. When I went up there 2 years ago, we were in the middle of the biggest recession in our state's history. And being that it is a global recession, there was a lot of work to be done. And in Connecticut, there was no new jobs created for 20 years. As of last month, there was 10,000 new jobs. Our administration has provided 60,000 new jobs and retained jobs in the last 4 years. And while I've been up there, there's been about 25,000 jobs. What we're doing is going through one problem at a time, layer by layer, and fixing these problems. We have a lot of work to go, and our district is starting to show. We have a lot of new businesses here. We have restaurants in all of my districts opening up. Last night I went to a new restaurant in Clinton, and the owner of the restaurant told me that he hired 37 new people. We need to get more restaurants, more businesses, adding people, and we're starting to turn this around. We have 2 new shopping centers that just opened up. We have a new road in the center of town. We have new sidewalks. We're building a new school. We're starting to show progress. These projects haven't been taken care of in 25 years. The bridges falling apart, the roads falling apart, and it's time that somebody did something about this, and that's what we're doing. We're taking care of one problem at a time, putting everything back together, and this is a great state to keep growing, to grow your family, go to school, live here. We're #1 in quality of life, and that's because it's such a great state. And I'm not going to blame anybody for anything. I'm a hard worker. When I go back up to Hartford, I'm going to keep working along with my team to make a lot of difference back for our district, and our district is a great place to live, and I thank everyone for coming tonight. Thank you.
All right, the first question will go to Mr. MacLachlan.
The #1 concern for many young Connecticut residents is the economy. Can you discuss what you intend to do regarding the state budget, specifically regarding state spending and taxes? How do you suspect your approach is different than your opponents? If so, how?
Sure, thank you for asking that question. A lot of parents at the doors are asking the same thing. I'm seeing a lot of for sale signs as I walk through the neighborhoods here and listen to the folks in our community. And the common theme that I get is that they're not able to find work. We have skilled citizens who are putting their applications out online, hundreds of applications out online. They can't seem to find work. Philosophically speaking, I believe that it's the government's responsibility to create an environment where if you work hard and if you work smart, you can have access to opportunity. The global trend right now is a two-class system starting to form in our country. That worries me. We have an increasing amount of working poor and a wealthy, and I think the way to combat that here in Connecticut is to create incentives that make businesses want to lay their roots in our state. Right now we have a 20% corporate surcharge. Now, I'm not interested in corporate welfare, but the fact of the matter is companies have the ability and the mobility now through our latest technology to work from anywhere, remotely from anywhere. So we need to learn how to compete with states that seem to be absorbing our employers like Unilever that went to New Jersey. So that's something I'd want to work on. And then you addressed state spending. We have one of the most excellent education systems in the nation. And one of the reasons why is because we pay top dollar to do that. Where I think we could be doing better in our spending is starting to look at any new state hire, any new state employee, instead of offering the pension offers from past generations, we transition instead to defined contribution plans. I think it's important that we start spending what we actually have the ability to pay back. It really worries me that we have a $2.8 billion deficit. I think that is putting our credit rating at risk, our ability to bond for capital projects that could create revenue for our state. So that's another task that I would be happy to work with other legislators, Republican and Democrat, to tackle. I think that's my time, so I'll yield the floor. Thank you.
Mr. Vicino, your response?
Thank you. As I said before, there's a lot of work to be done, and we are planning for it. The deficit that's been mentioned is just a projected deficit. What we need to do is take some of our $500 million surplus that we have and put it towards our deficit. Take some of our legal obligations on some of the programs that by law we are going to roll out and roll them out as needed to save money. These are issues that we need to take care of. We need to fund our towns, our government, our schools, our environment, our roads. These are things that the other side has let go for 25 years and they're falling apart. We're fixing our roads, bridges, and rail so that we can get you to work on time, cut down on congestion, and let everyone go back to work and turn everything around. Basically, nothing was done, and we're up there working very hard to fix the problem, to put people back to work. As far as the jobs go, We've added a lot of new jobs. I mentioned the 60,000 jobs, and next year 25,000 more jobs. I co-sponsored the Aerospace Act. This is an act to help our biggest employer in the state, Pratt & Whitney. Pratt & Whitney a few years ago was going to leave the state. By working with Pratt & Whitney and using tax credits that they earn and their own private money, this is how we're putting people back to work and retaining jobs. Those 75,000 jobs are high-paying aerospace jobs. Those jobs will spin off. People will start to pass money around to our restaurants, our gas stations, our grocery stores, our local merchants, and this is how we put people back to work. All of the investments we made are future workforce investments. The jobs of the future are high-paying jobs. They're all falling into place, and when the young students go off to school and come back, these are the kind of jobs that they're going to have to go to in Connecticut. Engineering jobs, mathematic jobs, financial, insurance, healthcare. These are the jobs of the future that we're investing in, and they're happening here in Connecticut. Thank you.
Mr. MacLachlan, you may have a 2-minute rebuttal.
Yeah, so I have questions. If companies are so excited to move here, why is UBS, a bank in Stamford, closing down its doors? Just put its campus up for sale. Why is that happening? Why did Pfizer shut down a whole wing of their campus in Groton? If people and companies want to lay their roots here, what if you're not one of the handful of companies to receive a massive stimulus package from the government? What if you're a small business? Small businesses make up 80% of our employers in the state. Then what? Because you're looking at one of the hardest tax environments to do business, to hire people, to train them, to offer them insurance. Now we're looking at more and more people having to work 30-hour work weeks because their employers can't offer them insurance packages. And my opponent brought up the fact that he built new roads. Well, the state decided to do a whole makeover of Route 1 during our community's busiest time for storefront businesses on Route 1. Why didn't my opponent speak out against that? I just have questions, big questions. Why wasn't the communication between our small towns and the state to make sure that these makeovers didn't happen when we didn't have tourists looking to spend money in our area? Those are my major questions. I'm still scratching my head. I'm a little confused here. Thank you.
Mr. Vicino, do you have your
Thank
rebuttal?
you. Well, you've named 2 businesses out of thousands of businesses. Connecticut is one of the best places for the future to have a business. We have a lot of smart people. This is where all the pipeline of technology is, and that's why the future jobs are staying here. I'm not going to give up like yourself and talk about moving out of state and going somewhere else. I'm going to stay right here in Connecticut and fix the problem, one problem at a time. As far as the roads, as I said, they haven't been fixed for 25 years. We replaced 245 miles of road. We had to put these roads in as needed. We tried to do most of it in the evening to repair these roads. And these are things that they were maintained would have saved the taxpayers billions of dollars, but they were just let go by the earlier administrations, and now we have to pay the price and repair these instead of letting them go. As far as everything else, there's a lot of hard work out there, and I'm not going to turn my back on it. The future will be very bright for everyone in our state, and along with you young guys, there's a lot of health coming up. Thank you.
All right, the second question will be from Mr. Vicino. Second question will be for you.
What would you do to help create jobs in Connecticut so young people will stay in the state?
Well, I'm starting with as you leave this high school, we're going to start with the colleges, the universities, the technical schools, the tech schools, and the community college. The new curriculum is all geared towards these new industries. So as you leave here and go off to study, there's a job at the end of the pipeline. Some people go to school, and when they get out, they're not sure what they're going to do. But in Connecticut, we have an advanced workforce, and we're gearing up so that we can send you off to one of our great state universities, colleges, and you'll get a career that you can go out and make good money. The average age of the worker in Connecticut is between 55 and 57 years old, and as they leave the workforce, We need the young people that are in this room to go out and fill these positions and bring us back to the top that we were before the recession. And I've added to this, this is a global recession. Everyone in the room knows that this has happened throughout the whole country, and Connecticut, being made up of advanced businesses, is going right to the top. Thank you.
Mr. MacLachlan, your response?
Sure. So I'll just speak to an accusation of previous administrations, and actually I suppose it was an offhanded comment regarding the Republican legislature. We've had just to set the facts straight, we've had a Democrat supermajority for decades. So I wasn't going to bring that up because I'm not interested in pointing fingers, but that is a fact. We have wonderful schools. We know that from pre-K all the way to the university level. But yet more and more young people have decided to leave. I haven't decided to leave. I've decided to stay here and run for office and try to be the change I'd like to see in the world, to address your previous backhanded comment. We're experiencing brain drain here in Connecticut. Like I said at the last debate, so many of my friends have left because their dollar stretches further in places like Florida and North Carolina, where they can go to the tech triangle and apply their engineering degree and instantly get hired and make six-figure salaries. You know what? If we were offering tech education, then why did so many vo-tech schools shut down? Why? We need more incentives like the Learn Here, Live Here program, where graduates from our universities have their income tax liability set aside up to $2,500 for up to 10 years to allow them to buy a house. It's for their first homeowner account. I'm paraphrasing. That's the kind of creativity we need up in Hartford. We need people with fresh ideas who are willing to think outside the box. My commitment to you is to listen and to fight, especially as it pertains to rejuvenating, and I think I'm answering the question I'm giving you an answer for probably one of the next questions having to do with college, but to fight and advocate for the refunding of our vocational and technical high schools. Thank you.
Mr. Vicino, you have a 2-minute rebuttal.
As I mentioned before, we're investing in everything for our future workers. Our state is filled with smart young people that we need to fill these jobs, and there's no reason to leave the state. We have good paying jobs when you get out of school, and we're positioning everything so that we are going to go back to be top in the country as far as providing high-end, high-paying jobs. And as far as the Learn Here, Live Here program, I also co-sponsored that along with some of my other legislators, and these are the kind of things that are going to put people into homes. They're going to stay here, they're going to raise their families here. We're number one in the quality of life, and people want to come here and raise their families because we have great public schools and a great state. Thank you.
Mr. MacLachlan, rebuttal.
It is a global recession. I acknowledged at the beginning of this debate that we're experiencing here in Connecticut global trends, and that if we want to insulate ourselves, we need to take certain steps. One of those steps is making sure that as technology and innovation becomes available, it's not just available to the elite few, but through our vocational and technical high schools, we allow kids to have access to the skills they need without having to immediately feel the pressure of a four-year college degree. That's what I'll fight to do. You know, I agree that Connecticut has all the potential to be a wonderful, employable place to live in. But as it stands right now, the reality is that we have one of the hardest tax codes for the middle class, one of the most difficult tax codes and regulatory hoops to jump through that businesses face. And if we want to talk about making our state more competitive to employers so that young people have options, we need to talk about addressing some of these burdens. Thank you.
The next question will be for you, Mr. MacLachlan.
Okay, sorry. What letter grade would you give the schools in your district, and what letter grade would you give the education system in Connecticut? And please explain.
I'd give it an A. I mean, obviously, just because I feel like I've benefited so much from the attention I've gotten from my school systems. My parents moved my sister out here to Westbrook. I live in Westbrook, Clinton's little brother. It was a joke. My parents moved us out here when I was young because they wanted us to receive attention. Small class sizes in a beautiful area from highly trained teachers who had the ability and flexibility and the confidence from the administration to tailor lessons directly related to the diversity of ability in their classroom. And I feel like I gained almost a head start than if I had received an education in a different state from that experience. But Connecticut is the state of home rule, and home rule means local control. So I believe if we want to get down to the nitty-gritty, that a program like Common Core, while we do need high standards and we need to be able to compete globally with a rising East, a program like the Common Core I don't think is going to sit well with our community, being so used to local Board of Ed control. There are several issues with it that concern me. It didn't go through local school boards. We're not really sure what it's going to cost us. We don't even know what's going to raise the quality of our education, or if it's going to harm it. I fear that it will stretch our town's finances with the cost of curricular materials and the computers it takes for students to take the SBAC, which I'm so glad I don't have to take. My questions are, is it worth it? Can we afford it? When we're not really sure if it even works. I believe that good teachers have good instincts for teaching kids, and I believe big government shouldn't stand in the way of that. Thank you.
Thank you. I would give it an A. We have the best public schools in the country here in Connecticut, and we have a long way to go. That's one of our biggest investments in all of our colleges and universities. We've added 4,000 new to the faculty at UConn that will produce 6,000 more students. And these are our future engineers, scientists, mathematics. These are the kind of jobs that these young people are going to study for, and this is our future. As far as last year's budget, we added $237 million into our education system in Connecticut to strengthen it. This is a place that we need to bring up some of our students that need more supplies, more teachers, more adjustments to their curriculum. Also, I'm very proud to have brought back an additional 10% for the new Morgan High School, saving the town people millions of dollars so that we can build our new high school here in town. And these are the kinds of things that provide progress to our communities. Thank you.
MacLachlan, you got your rebuttal now?
Sure. Well, I think you need to look at both sides. The future employees coming up, our students that we're trying to train to the best of our ability, and then the environment through which they'll find employment. I have friends who are graduating with engineering degrees from UConn, and they're going to New Hampshire, and they're going to Massachusetts, as my friend Art calls it, going to Jersey. And so I think if we want to make sure these really highly trained young people stay here, that there's a place in the private sector, that there's a private sector that is regulated responsibly. But we're not scaring people off, we're not scaring employers off. As sad as it is to say, it's starting to turn into a dog-eat-dog world here in the U.S. With how easy it is for small businesses who can actually afford to pick up and move, and for corporations to move as well. And like I said, I'm not interested in corporate pandering. I'm just trying to offer my philosophy, which I believe speaks to the realities of this new economy that we're facing. Thank you.
Mr. Vicino?
We need engineers. If you talk to any big company, like I said, we are the state that you go to buy a helicopter blade, an airplane engine, a medical device. This is the state that you come to. We're #1 in research and development because we are the state of engineers. The lead company hires a new engineer every week. They're looking for engineers. So these young people that are getting out of school are going right to work at Electric Boat, Pratt & Whitney, and all of our top companies that are looking for students with advanced degrees. The other thing I wanted to mention is about our system is one of the things we need to do is go after more federal money for our schools. Our neighbor New York brings in about 10% for their school systems. In Connecticut, we bring in 4%. We need to look at that to bring more money in so it'll save the taxpayers on property tax. Thank you.
All right, the fourth and final question will be for Mr. Vicino.
Clinton, Westbrook, and Killingworth are towns with some very talented young people. How can we help encourage these students to enroll in college or training schools when the cost seems so overwhelming?
Well, that's a good question, and that's something we're working on. Student debt is the second most highest responsibility to a family. Along the top is their mortgage. We're working on different ways to bring our costs down by combining all of the universities and college system together with one ID to make it easier for you to spread your credits around. We have the new program where if you've been out of college for more than 18 months, you can get 3 free credits to go back and get your degree. So these are some real serious issues that we're trying to strengthen so that you can go off and get your degree and go off to one of these advanced jobs that I keep mentioning. Thank you.
Mr. MacLachlan, your response?
I'm sure I'm going to repeat myself. I got a little ahead of myself on other questions because I'm passionate about these issues and I see so much of it as being intertwined. So I've already covered this, but if you've forgotten because we're getting tired, I'll remind you real quick. I believe that we've worked ourselves into a rut by assuming that every student is best served by going to college. In reality, people have very different types of intelligences. Some are more people-oriented than others. Others have an incredible eye for design. Some people are great at taking tests and completing math problems, and others are great with their hands. Unfortunately, we've made vocational education the stepchild of public education. We do it in lack of funding, and we do it in lack of status. If we want to channel education dollars, I think we should channel them here. We have jobs that go unfilled due to lack in skilled prospects. We have great jobs in cutting-edge technology and manufacturing. Our VOTEC could support the workforce in that sector, but we continue to scapegoat them. Republicans and Democrats actually band together on the Education Committee to save the VOTEC schools after our governor's budget defunded them. This goes to show what a legislator can do if they know the issues and vote the sentiments of their district. It's not just their prerogative, it's their job. I have an issue, and like I said before, I have an issue taking someone's failures and using it. I have an issue even subvertly or even by accident, seeming to gain from someone else's mistake. I have tried my very best to define my candidacy based off my ideas and based off the concerns and the issues that I've heard at the door of hopefully my future constituents. But I have a hard time listening when my opponent says he's created these bills, put his name on these bills, endorsed these bills, co-sponsored these bills, when the first bill that he introduced would have, if had passed, would have made you all get your cars checked at 100,000 miles. I don't think that's right. And I don't think it's right that he did so while still owning a car garage. I don't think it was malicious. I just don't think there was much thought going on there. And I feel like you deserve more thoughtful, a more critical thinking representation in Hartford. Thank you.
Mr. Vicino.
Thank you. Okay, Jesse, I'll give you the the real scoop on this. Yes, I do own an auto repair shop, and I did have a conceptual bill that when you go to your emissions testing, that you would have your headlights, wipers, seat belts checked as part of your emissions test. And I don't own an emissions testing station. I'm not a certified emissions repairer. It was all about safety. But in all of your letters, I see you have to leave that out. You put little snippets of it in, and it's untrue. And if that's the best you could do, good luck. As far as mentioning about our VOTEC schools, I went to a VOTEC school, and when I got out within the first year, I started my business in Westbrook. I have 10 employees. I know how to make a payroll. Every day I go there, it's very hard for businesses, and I am definitely an advocate of vocational schools. I visit my local vocational school every year, spend about 10 hours there, helping the students with some of their contests. These are the kind of things putting people back to work. Also with the education reforms that we've worked on are the pre-K program, where we take young children before they go into school and teach them, get them better prepared for school. So that when they actually go into school, they move through the system quicker with a better education. This is what saves taxpayers money versus a child going to a daycare and doing nothing. This is the future of Connecticut, and this is what we're going to do to get our young people ready for school and move them through the system. As far as the Common Core goes, the teachers have been brought back into the room to discuss this. And as you've seen, the teachers are now supporting the Democrats because they know that the future educational system in our state is going in the right direction. And it's a lot of work to be done, and our party is the one that is going to bring us to the top. Thank you.
It's not about parties, it's about ideas, I thought. That's why I got into this. My last debate, my opponent said something along the lines of how great of a time it is to be a politician. And that made me really sad, because I've gone to doors and people say, "Are you a politician?" It's almost a swear word. And I shudder, because I didn't go to school. I wasn't raised to pander for votes. I'm not making accusations of that. I'm just trying to describe what this term politician connotates. I'm in this because I'd like to, like I said, be the change I'd like to see in this world. I'm in it not because I think it's a good time to be a politician, but I believe it's an important time to be a civil servant, because it's an even harder time to be a citizen in this state. And I think ignoring it and plastering over with pretty words is, I think it's just untrue. We have to be very real about our current state of the economy, and then plot a course of action, a very hopeful course that I believe will return us. I'm trying to stay positive. I think we're all tired of negative campaigning. I apologize if I've seemed like I've been coming off too negative. I'm trying to be very honest with you all. Now, I believe that I can do a very good job rolling up my sleeves, listening to your needs, and voting your sentiments. And I continue to ask for your consideration as you make your decision. If you haven't already, most of the people here are pretty hardcore Democrat or hardcore Republicans. You probably already made your decision. But if you haven't yet, I continue to ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Mr. MacLachlan, you may now give your 3-minute closing statement.
Thank you. Over the last several months, I've knocked on a countless amount of doors and have been asking the members of our community about the issues that matter most to them. And I hear time and time again the sadness in people's voices as they describe how difficult it is to live in this state. Let me be clear. Our state hosts a beautiful environment and is home to nationally recognized schools. But if we don't take action, we will continue to see our young people, our seniors, and our employers choose other, more affordable places to live. Do voters want to re-elect and send to Hartford representation that is voted 99% of the time with our current governor? Policies that have taxed and spent, I believe, us to the hill. We're feeling squeezed, and I don't know how much more. the people in our community, our shoreline community, can take? Or do the people in our community want an independent voice? I vow, as your state representative, to use my time to listen to you and to vote your views. I will work with Republicans and Democrats alike to create an environment where businesses can thrive and where people of all ages can seek and find opportunity. Tonight, I ask you once again for the supreme honor of being your voice and your representation in Hartford. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to us tonight. I appreciate it. You got to hear some of the issues that are out there. I've been working very hard for you for not only the last 2 years, but the last 12 years as a two-term selectman in town, also a member of the Planning and Zoning Committee. I helped shape this community, working on all kinds of the new projects that you see in the area, and all of these projects are all starting to make the area glow with the new road, the new money I brought down for the new sidewalks, the high school grant, there's new restaurants and shopping centers open, more jobs to the area. This is a good time to be an elected official. I like hard work. There's a lot more to be done, and as being a member of the Commerce Committee in Hartford, we're working on all kinds of new strategies to bring all of these new jobs to our state. We're going to help out everybody that needs help with education so that every child has a chance to go to the top. As far as energy, we have all kinds of new projects bringing in billions of dollars of new gas lines. When you have gas hook up to your home or building, it brings the cost down so your family or your business has more money. As far as transportation goes, along with the other projects that I mentioned, I'm also working on bringing a new train station to Clinton. Our administration is going to be putting it out to bid at the end of the year, and they're going to start construction in the middle of next year with an opening sometime in the middle of 2016. This is something that will get you to work on time, bring people to our area to shop at our businesses, and this is how we get the state back to work. So as I leave here tonight, I am your state representative. I appreciate it, and please vote me back into the office, and I'll keep all of the progress going in the right direction. Thank you.